Interior sleeping quarters, night. Rimmer is in his bunk, reading a hologrammatic book. Biggles learns to fly. Lister waddles in with a boxed pizza. He is very heavily pregnant. I've been for another checkup. There's no question about it. I'm pregnant. He plonks himself down on a chair. Me? With child? In the pudding club? Up the duff? He stands so his profile is to Rimmer. Look at me. I look like a smegging darts player. He examines his profile in the mirror. I look absolutely disgusting, don't I? Eh? No. You look fine. You're blooming. You've got a glow about you. Ah, you ought to see me nipples. They're like roll plugs, man. They're so tender. Look at this. Lister starts unbuttoning the front of his smock. Look, Listy, I know it's not easy for you being pregnant, and I'm trying to be supportive, but I do not want to see your engorged nipples. Not now, not ever. Me belly button popped out this morning. I saw it happen. Popped right out. Ejected this big ball of blue fluff right across the room. How lovely. Me ankles have swollen up too. They're like two prize marrows. Remember what they used to be like? I used to have brilliant ankles. I don't want to know these constant bulletins about the state of your body. It's hideous. It's quite normal. A lot of husbands get a bit queasy about the physical changes. This is the point. This is exactly the point. I am not your husband. I'm a healthy, rough and tumble, lock up your daughters type hardened astro. I don't want to know. Well, how do you think I feel? A woman has made me pregnant, and I'm having her baby. A one-night stand in a parallel universe. Wham bam, thank you, mister. Don't start getting emotional again. All that blubbering. I don't know how to handle it. You can't just burst into tears at the least provocation. Is that how Arnold Schwarzenegger would have a baby? You've just got to be a bit more manly about the whole thing. Lister examines his profile. I'm going to get stretch marks, you know. That cream's next to useless. I'll never be able to wear swimming trunks again. For heaven's sake, anyone would think you were the first male ever to have a baby. I am. You've seen the case studies. Male baboons have done it lots of times. I bet they didn't go around showing each other their varicose veins. It's all right for you. You don't have to have a cesarean. You don't have to go under the knife. Crichton's getting better by the day. He's been practicing on that simulation machine for weeks. Almost second nature to him now. Just like slicing open a mango. Lister opens his pizza box. Raw liver and banana pizza. I never used to like these. It's funny, isn't it? I have 3 a day now. Interior plant room, night. Crichton races along, pushing a medical trolley with Lister on it, flanked by the cat and Rimmer. Interior, outside science room, night. Rimmer and the cat are pacing. What's going on in there? It's been 2 hours! Crichton comes out. Wonderful news, sir. Wonderful, wonderful news. I haven't killed him. What about the baby? What is it? It's a human. Yes, but what sex? There's more than one kind? Forgive me, sir, but you all look the same to me. How do you tell? What's between his legs? Crichton gestures with his hands. Space. No, at the top. Has it got a... Rimmer wiggles his forefinger. No, it has a... Crichton wiggles his little finger. It's a boy! Interior sleeping quarters, day. The baby is asleep in the cot. Rimmer is leaning over him. Marvellous, isn't it? It's a miracle, really. They don't tell you about the joys, do they? Good as gold, not a peep, eh? Look at him. Lister, grey-faced, huge rings around the eyes, is staring helplessly into space. 14 times he woke up last night. 14 times. 14 times? See? I told you it would get easier. I have slept for approximately 33 minutes in the last 6 weeks. But it has its compensations, doesn't it? I mean, just look at him. Have you got a name for him yet? I thought of a few names last night, I can tell you. You've got to give him a name. He's nearly 6 weeks old. I can't think of any names I like. Well, you want something sort of rugged, don't you? Something with a bit of substance. How about, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, how about Arnold? Your name. Oh, that's not the reason I suggested it. It's just such a cracking name. Lots of diminutives. Arnie, Arn, Nuld. Arnold Lister. You could go a long way with a name like that. Arnold Lister, the international film star, won his 7th Oscar today. At the inauguration of President Arnold Lister, I was thinking of Barry. Barry? Yeah, Bazza. B. Lister. Blister. Why don't you call him after your dad? What was his name? I don't know. I never found out who he was. 6 weeks old, I was left in this pub called the Flag and Lettuce, in a cardboard box under the pool table. Your parents left you in a pub. They must have had their reasons. What possible reason could you have for leaving a tiny baby in a pub? It wasn't just any old pub. It was quite upmarket. Boddy's beer. Did a nice ploughman's too. Oh, well, sorry. Obviously I misread the situation. I assumed they were just irresponsible tossers. But I can see now I was wrong. Plainly they'd thought very long and hard about your future. Where shall we send our boy? Harrow? Eton? No, the snug bar of the Flag and Lettuce. Look, I don't know why they did it. I never met them, did I? Like I say, they must have had their reasons. It wasn't like I was totally abandoned. I was in a nice, warm blanket, and they left 5 quid pinned to me romper suit. What was that for? To get your first round in? I don't know why they did it. I've gone over it in my mind millions of times, but there's just no way of knowing. Well, it's hardly a mystery on a par with a Marie Celeste, is it? I mean, it's pretty obvious. 2 people unable to contain their desires had an illicit liaison, and you are the fruit of their forbidden passion. You are forbidden passion fruit. What are you saying? I'm saying there's a very real possibility that your parents were brother and sister. Smeg off. Just smeg right off. Don't take offence. It's hardly your fault. How many toes have you got? 10. On both feet? All together? They're not webbed or anything, are they? Look, they weren't relatives, all right? Stop counting me fingers. What other explanation is there? Millions more credible than that. Maybe me dad, I don't know, maybe he was connected to royalty. Well, yes, now you say it, it's obvious. All you've got to do is watch you eating spaghetti to know there's blue blood coursing through your veins. I often catch you in a certain light and think, truly a prince walks amongst us. It's not that stupid. Certainly not. The Prince Regent gets one of his chambermaids in the pudding club and thinks, where on earth can I leave our offspring? I know. I'll nip up to Liverpool and dump him in the snug bar of the Flag and Lettuce. You're a sensitive guy, you know that, Rimmer. Have you ever thought of working for the Samaritans? I did, once. Summer job. First day there, I had 7 suicides. 7. And one of them was a wrong number. He'd only phoned up for the cricket scores. Of course, I got the blame. They said I couldn't relate to people. Interior pub day. A man drinking at the bar. Door opens and Lister comes in. The man nods at Lister. Lister turns to an unseen barman. Pints of bitter, please, mate. The man looks up again. Does a double take of Lister, realising how similar they look. I want a word with you.
Jake sent you, hasn't he? Look, if it's about them cameras, I can explain, right? I was going to call round with him tonight, honest. There's no need to cut me.
It's nothing to do with Jake.
It's Bazza, right? Bazza sent you. He wants to know where his money is, right? I can explain that.
Lister shakes his head.
It's Eric, isn't it? Eric sent you. He thinks I did a runner with them tins of paint, doesn't he? Well, I did, but I didn't, right?
Nobody sent me.
Well, what do you want? Who are you?
I want to know why you left me in a cardboard box under that pool table when I was 6 weeks old.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, how come you're so... I mean, you can't be more than 1 year old.
I'm big for me age.
Bazza sent you to cut me, didn't he?
No. This is a photograph. You can walk into the photographs and talk to people in the future.
So, you're my son.
Why did you dump me?
I can explain that, honest. It was circumstances. It was your mum, right? She was already married and had connections high up, if you get me drift.
No, I don't get you drift.
She was a baronet.
A baronet is a man.
All right, I'm lying. Fair enough, I admit it. She wasn't a baronet, she worked in Tesco's.
And you made her pregnant?
Yeah, and I wanted to do the decent thing, I did really. But it just wasn't possible to have you aborted because I was strapped for cash.
Two men appear. One of them approaches Rimmer.
What is the time period of your origin?
The 22nd century.
The 22nd century?
Yes.
The 22nd century. Do you know a guy called Bill? He lived in the 22nd century.
Bill what?
I can't recall his second name. Bill, short guy with red hair.
No, doesn't ring a bell, I'm afraid.
He came from the 22nd century. Bill, you must have bumped into him.
Sorry.
Bill, about this high, always wore a sports jacket. His name was Bill.
Who are you?
We are from your extreme future. We are the Infinity Patrol. It is our task to safeguard the continuation of the human race. We travel through time, repairing paradoxes.
What's that?
We have done many things. Prevented world wars by removing presidents. At various points in history, we have given mankind technology far in advance of his knowledge. Penicillin, the silicon chip, the theory of relativity, even dealy-boppers.
Lister goes to Rimmer's locker and brings out a tailor's torso dummy on a stand. The dummy has 3 sets of breasts, each covered with a different bra.
What's this then?
I admit that's mine. I've got no shame about that.
What's it for, exactly?
It's my practice dummy, so I could practice undoing brassiers with one hand.
And you're not ashamed of that?
It's just a professional attitude. The same professional attitude I adopt to all areas of my life.